So as we continue to celebrate Black History Month, an update to a story that we first brought you 2 years ago. It's a reminder of the power that music has in transforming lives and the artists harnessing that energy from behind bars. Eric Abercrombie was only 17 when convicted of attempted murder and sent to San Quentin prison. But his story, his gift for music, and his dedication to redemption, well, it redefined his life.
It's one of America's most notorious lockups, home to infamous inmates. This is San Quentin State Prison and California's only death row. But there's something else going on behind all these bars and barbed wire.
Jassy.
They are beats.
No lie.
That are breaking stereotypes and breaking the mold. It's called San Quentin Mixtape, Volume 1. 17 tracks, all written, recorded, and produced inside this prison. A groundbreaking release with a timely twist.
How do you think this mixtape can add inspiration to what's going on in our country right now?
That begins to show how we can overcome our conditions. That begins to show how great we truly are despite the mistakes of our past. That begins to show the possibility of growth. I went from a 17-year-old kid convicted of attempted murder to somebody literally on a vigorous mission to change the world.
Hard times turned into hip-hop, courtesy award-winning music producer David Jassy, who after being incarcerated for second-degree murder, had nothing but time to put his pain into prose. Producing this project so symbolic of our times.
These are not studio gangsters going in to make a record just to sell records. These are men who are coming and want to give back to the community and want to be vulnerable and also transparent about the struggle that they've been through, but also the bad decisions that they made in life.
David made it clear these cuts would have no profanity nor glorify violence.
Why did you insist on clean lyrics?
It was actually amazing. The result that we got was better than I expected because they themselves actually came to the studio and was like, you know, I reached a deeper level than I ever reached before. And a lot of them broke down on the microphone and actually started crying.
Already grabbing the attention of rappers and producers like J. Cole, Common, and Quincy Jones III.
How does this mixtape help break stereotypes?
I really like what David did in terms of telling him not to curse, because I think that will gain a lot more ears and it makes it easier for people to hear the real message. Having seen a lot of the sessions at San Quentin when I was visiting, I noticed that when the guys were telling the stories, because they weren't allowed to curse, it was piercing their emotions also. Some of the guys broke down crying on the microphone, you know what I mean? Because they have to tell it like it is.
Telling it like it is. Maserati E joining me once again to talk about how this San Quentin music program continues to break the mold, along with his posse of change, music producers Quincy Jones III and David Jassy. Guys, it's so great to have you back and in studio. No more COVID restrictions. I love it.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right, E, it's a pleasure. Let's start with you, E. You know, here we are almost 3 years later. Yeah. Why was this program so important to you? And tell me how this opportunity in prison really changed your life.
Absolutely. This program was extremely important to me for several reasons. One of the main ones, it empowers the voices of a community that has practically been silenced. Being incarcerated, you feel so isolated and you feel so powerless and defenseless in a lot of ways. And one of the things that we have to rely on is our creativity, as well as like our craft of music and things like that to express ourselves. But typically that's still confined behind the walls of a prison. So being able to actually have that transcend beyond the walls was so, so powerful. And that inspired me in so many different ways. On top of being challenged, like not being able to curse and things like that, that challenges you and causes you to dig a little deeper. So that definitely was very inspirational as well. And then being alongside like David Jassy and QD3, like that was nuts. Those were the type of things that instilled in me the belief of what was actually possible, what I could actually do, but ultimately my value.
and they're still beside you, and they're still believing in you. Quincy, it's not just David's story and E's story, but just tell me another story of how you have seen this San Quentin program impact lives and really change journeys.
I mean, I think a great testament is a lot of the people that have been released since the program started are doing so well. I mean, look at E right now. You know, I just a couple of weeks ago, I went to Sirius Radio where he was hosting a show interviewing us, right? And so I think that, you know, that type of sort of proof point is telling of the program big time, you know?
It's like it came full circle. And David, you know,
exactly.
What do you think others can do to make an impact like this? And what do you think, you know, you three achieved that others can look at and say, you know what? I got to help San Quentin's program, and I have to do something else. I mean, everybody can take this a step farther.
Sure, and I think, I mean, this program could actually be scaled and used anywhere in the world. So I think it's about giving the voiceless a voice. And I think if you want to learn about people that committed crime, who else to hear from the people actually committed the crime? So I think hearing these people's stories, these voices that have been silenced, just as Maserati said, I think what you can learn from that, and especially younger kids, if they can hear the music that comes out, the lyrics that comes out, and hearing what it's like to wake up in a cell, washing your clothes in a bucket at 4:30, you know, it's not the life you want to live. And what's so important too with this is that all the financial gains from this mixtape actually goes to victim rights organization. So I think if you use people that are currently incarcerated and use them and let their voices be heard, I think a lot of progress can come within the communities when you can have a conversation about it, and younger kids can actually learn from it.
And Quincy, those are always the most powerful songs, right? When you've been there, done that, and then you can tell about it, and then tell about it through music, which moves all of us.
Exactly. I did a lot of work with Tupac, and, you know, his career was largely built on him telling his life story, you know, and I think that's what David helped a lot of these people do, right? And I think that's the power of it. And, you know, I would love to find a way to get him back to the States to continue the work, you know?
And Eric, from San Quentin to Sirius XM, and Q touched on that a little bit, but you are about to launch your new show. I get to talk about it. Thank you. It's called The Last Mile Radio. All of you guys are going to be on it. It's about the justice system reform and paving the road to success for the formerly incarcerated. Tell us about the show, E.
Absolutely, absolutely. So for starters, The Last Mile is a nonprofit based in Oakland. Of course, I love that being from Oakland, but it's a nonprofit based in Oakland. And the mission of The Last Mile is to create opportunities for professional as well as personal growth for justice-impacted individuals. And we do that through education as well as through technology training, and such as like audio production. And now we're dipping into like the media field with The Last Mile Radio on Sirius XM, where we'll be utilizing actual personal experiences. And like me personally, I'm a firm believer, people treat you the way they see you, and that could be lethal when you're not seen as an equal. So being able to tell our truths and being able to speak with other people, you know what I mean, that have proximity to our truths as well, like it's so empowering. But ultimately, I think it'll begin to shift the perception of value that we place on people. So I think it's gonna be extremely powerful, and I'm so excited.
And David, I'm going to let you button that up, because you guys have proved here that second chances are possible. Second chances at life are possible. Just because you're in prison doesn't mean that that's the end of the road.
Exactly, and I don't want it to define anybody. I mean, we committed the crime and we paid for it, but ultimately, what's important here is that most of these guys that are incarcerated will eventually get out. So people can ask themselves, like, who do you want as your neighbor? Somebody that had rehabilitation and has been able to actually vent through music or whatever program that they take in prison. That's so important, especially since they're going to get back to society and, you know, have a safe re-entry into society and be a productive citizen.
Well, all three of you always have a platform here. E, David, Quincy, thank you all so much. And just being here and lifting us all up. I appreciate you three so much.
Appreciate you too so much.
Appreciate you.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you so much for having me.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.